wonderful day.
Shmita Year 2021. Today is June the 15th. We're here in Rosh Pina on a 6-dunam olive grove. There's approximately 160 or 170 trees here. They're virtually all 10 and 11 years old. We planted them originally for our investors. There are several investors who have purchased here from the beginning. Today we brought our agricultural manager, Rami Chayon, who's going to show certain things that he has to do here to prepare the land for the olive harvest. Now these olives, these little Suri olives, which you can see here, which are growing nice, which begun to grow this year. They're right now small. They need a few more months, but notice the shape. This is the shape of the Suri olive. It's not as round. These olives are growing now before Shmita, most of the growth. They blossom, they bloom, they develop before, and then after Shmita has begun, Shmita starts in Rosh Hashana, after Shmita has begun, they still will not be picked because they won't be ready. Towards the end of October, early November, when they're not quite brown yet, when they're still green but plumper, they will be full of oil. That oil will be extra virgin, boutique quality olive oil, and that's when they will be harvested. So they're actually being harvested after the year of Shmita has begun, but the fruit is not Shmita fruit. Now next season, all the fruit that will grow during the year is Shmita fruit, and next Rosh Hashana, when Shmita has ended, afterwards we cannot pick of those fruit because they were fruit that grew during Shmita. So this will be the last harvest, and then we will skip a year and we'll only pick again in 2 years. An important aspect to maximize the harvest, the amount of olives picked, which will be to maximize the amount of oil pressed for this last harvest before Shmita 2021, will be to prune, meaning to trim, to cut off growth around the lower parts of the trees because they inhibit us from getting the plastic or nylon carpeting, as we call it, on the ground, so that when we're pulling off with the combs and shaking the trees and getting all the olives to fall, they need to fall from where the tree starts all the way back to here underneath the branches. And we don't want to lose them. So if you have too much growth, such as this here, coming all the way to the bottom, you will not be able to place the carpet underneath, and you will lose 20, 30, even 40% of your harvest. Earlier, Rami was here and he cut off from the bottoms. Now, if you look carefully, although this looks like part of an olive tree, and it is part of an olive tree, there are absolutely no buds, no olives, nothing positive grows from them. So the idea is when they grow smaller, even to here, from the side of the tree and the lower part, is to knock them off. Because all they do is make problems. All they do is inhibit. They reduce productivity. The reason why pruning at the higher levels are so important is because you don't want potential olives and olives themselves, in other words, olives that haven't developed or olives that aren't even there, not to be able to either blossom, to bud, to become olives, or once they are olives, that they won't develop quickly and properly. So these Suri olives, as you can see, an abundance of them on the branches, even though they're still small, because of the pruning, that the tree is cut in a way, pruned in a way that it's like an open hand, and there's enough space between trees so that you get maximum sun exposure. Maximum sun exposures will give you the best olives in Israel. And here they are. So in a few months' time, these olives will be big and plump, but still extra virgin because they won't have accumulated a lot of acid by becoming black yet. This is Rami Chayon, our agricultural manager. In your opinion, Rami, what you're doing today and will be doing tomorrow and the day after, this is something that should have been done earlier because you just took over. But this is something that should be done regularly, more than once a year, correct? The cutting around the bottoms of the trees?
Cut at the bottom of the tree twice in a year. Cut the grass few times in a year.
Right. Now also because for the grounds, we're not using pesticide, herbicide, weed killer, any chemicals whatsoever, so we always have much more to do. So cutting down the growth around on the ground of the trees, it's like 3 or 4 times a year, and cutting from the tree itself, the bottom of the tree, where you were, twice a year. Right now, Rami is at the bottom here of this tree, and he's already taken out a lot of the excessive growth, but he's going to show us an example of what he still has to do here. So Rami will cut all this extra growth that we don't need, that blocks and catches olives that instead could be used for oil. As you can see, a lot of labor to be able to give you the best. Okay, you think we're going to have a good Masik Zaytim? We're going to have a good harvest this year?
Bezrat Hashem.
Please God. Thank you.